and I don't want to waste time for anyone who is on the call now. And so, good afternoon. I am Mary Quay. I am the Associate Commissioner for Market Regulation and Professional Licensing here at the MIA. And with me from the MIA, we have Jamie Sexton, Riley Williams, and Katie Callahan from our government relations units, and Ray Guzman from our market data analysis unit. So Ray is the person responsible for sending out the survey I'll mention later, and Craig I from our communications department. And I would also like to welcome Senator Bidle, who is the person requesting this study that we are happy to perform and who we will hear from later, and Delegate Sheila Ruth. And I am looking to see if anyone else who is interested is on the call. I do not see them right now, but hopefully someone can join later. So the MIA was asked to conduct a study of the effect of wild animal collisions. And most commonly, that will be collisions with deer, and the effect of these on the premiums for private passenger auto insurance in the state. And so this can affect collision insurance specifically, or coverage specifically. And so we send out a survey asking about the percentage of Maryland policyholders who have comprehensive coverage, loss costs for collisions with deer or other wildlife, whether policyholders will pay a higher premium due to surcharges or loss of a discount for the claim if they do hit a deer or other wildlife, and how the overall loss costs for wild animal collisions are incorporated into private passenger automobile insurance premium rates. And so the MIA has begun the work for the study by sending out a survey to insurance companies that write private passenger auto insurance in the state. And we have received the majority of responses. We did grant a couple of extensions, so we're getting in the last of the information, and we are going through that data, cleaning it up, following up with any questions we still have, and analyzing it to try to produce a response that we will use in our report. And so far, one thing we have seen is the number of animal collisions tends to be in around 30,000 to 33,000 a year, and that has held somewhat steady. But the cost of the collisions and the claims has gone up. And we have seen that in inflation and overall for the costs of repairing autos. So that is something we will need to delve into more before we can make any definitive statements, but that's an initial first impression of the data that we have. And the majority of companies will incorporate those costs into their premiums generally. Only a few seem to indicate that they will apply a surcharge, and others, a few more, will remove a discount. But again, that is something we still have to look into and work with our Rates and Forms division for P&C to confirm those numbers and make sure that our final report is accurate on those points. And that will take us some more work. I would like to go over a few procedures for today, general housekeeping. When it is time for public comments, we will call first on members of the public who are registered to speak in advance. To the extent that time and technology permit, the MIA will hear from unregistered participants who access the Zoom webinar platform, and you can communicate with us through the chat function. We will continue to keep the record open until September 5th, 2024 for additional written comments, and instructions on how to file those were in the notice of the meeting. The video of today's meeting, as well as all written testimony submitted, will be posted on the MIA's website. To help ensure excellent sound quality throughout the meeting, we ask that you please stay on mute unless you are speaking. Also, anytime before speaking, if you could restate your name and organization, that would be helpful. And Senator Bidle, you are signed up to speak, so welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I'm mostly just listening, but I'll, if I have any comments, I'll raise my hand. How's that?
Well, we do not have other people signed up to speak. We were disappointed by that response, but perhaps someone who is on the call now, if anyone has something to say, or if you have questions, in addition to those we have in the survey, please share them.
I do want to thank you for undertaking this study because it was very, very different answers that we got from various companies during session. So I think, I'll look forward to you finalizing the survey and seeing how the responses are. Thank you.
And Delegate Ruth?
Yeah, thank you so much. I also just wanted to thank you for undertaking this study. It's really important issue. As you said, there are 30 to 33,000 collisions every year with potential huge cost. And we, as Chair Bidle mentioned, we're looking at this during session. So this kind of data is really important. Sorry that you don't have people signed up to speak, but I appreciate you're doing the survey and the other work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
We are happy to do it, and that is why we have Ray available to send out surveys. We do want to know what is happening in the market. I did see Nancy Egan's hand raised briefly. Oh, and Senator Lewis Young, I see that you have joined, and welcome. I see your hand is raised. And Craig has moved over Nancy Egan. Nancy, do you have some comments for us?
Yeah, thank you for holding the hearing, and Senator Bidle for asking for the study. I just, the questions that the survey that you were sent out to the membership, is it possible for a copy, if I could receive a copy? Or is it the questions that were in the notice, the survey questions? Just wanted to check.
They were primarily the questions that we were asked to look into. But we can see about getting, if we can get you a copy. I'll talk to Ray if we can do that. We can't share answers, obviously because
yeah.
But I will see if that's available.
And one other question, from what I've heard from members, they don't really distinguish between a deer and a bear, but I'm sure you're finding that out in your responses. So,
and we did specify wildlife. And we did have some discussions about whether domestic chickens can count as wildlife, and we went with wildlife. So, but we do understand it is that, especially in the suburbs, it's most commonly deer, and that's what we're all familiar with. So
and I just an anecdote. Right after session ended, I was driving down Delaney Valley Road near the Loch Raven Reservoir, and a deer jumped out in front of my car. And I thought, now, isn't this just right on point, since we just had this during the session, but fortunately not damage to my car. So, but anyway, thank you. And if you could send me a copy, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Lewis Young.
Thank you. I've finally been able to resolve my technical difficulties and join you for this. So you're probably aware that Delegate Ruth and I cross-filed the bill on this topic during the past session. And Senator Bailey had amended the Senate version to do an insurance study. And I just wanted to reinforce how critical it is. Other states have had similar initiatives. They've developed public-private partnerships, and there's a lot of best practices now for mitigation, highway crossings, and other pathways, and really to be able to cost justify the investments that it would take to minimize this problem. We really need a study such as the one you're doing. So I want to thank you for doing that study and reinforce the importance of it. And we do so many studies that end up being nice information. This is a study that we will be able to take action from. So thank you.
And we are happy to help. So do we have anyone else who would like to speak? Well, I am not seeing any additional raised hands, and I thank everyone who took the time to call in. And I hope that we will see some additional comments from anyone who has an interest or would like to provide supplemental information. They will be posted. And so keep that in mind when you send something in. It will become public. But we are eager to get the best quality information that we can for this study. So we welcome any additional comments. And so last call for comments on the call. I see none, so we can adjourn. And again, thank you for taking the time to call in.
Thank you, Mary.